to their door.
In Fairfax, Virginia.
Can we do it? Are we enthused?
First-term Democratic incumbent Jerry Connolly is working this Labor Day weekend to hang on to his congressional seat.
I'm talking to many of my colleagues. They get the threat. They understand that there's understandable anxiety in the country, given the state of the economy, but they're prepared going into battle.
Good to see you.
But Connolly's race is just one of dozens the Democrats could lose in a midterm election that appears to be increasingly tilting towards Republicans. The latest Gallup poll has no good news for Democrats. Republicans have a 10-point lead, 51% to 41%, on the generic ballot. And Democratic voters are in the dumps, with twice as many Republicans saying they're very enthusiastic about voting this fall. While party leaders are not conceding control of the House, they are looking to cut their losses by redirecting campaign funds to the strongest Democratic candidates.
We will look at races that we can win. So we make a determination about whether or not those campaigns can be successful at the end of the day.
President Obama, who returned to the White House today from a holiday weekend in Camp David, will hit the road this week to focus on the economy and spell out what Democrats are doing to help create more jobs. It's clear he has a lot of work to do.
Democrats, I think, are rightly very, very nervous, much more pessimistic today than they were a month ago. If you look at the number of races that are in play, it's 60, 70, maybe as many as 80 or 90 seats that potentially could turn over.
But Democratic National Committee Chairman Tim Kaine says voters are just now tuning in.
They start to really pay attention, in that Labor Day to Election Day window, and as they look to make a choice, the choices will be clear, and we think that clarity is going to help our candidates.
Now, while Republicans are content to watch the Democrats squirm, the truth is their approval ratings are just as bad. And today, Senator John McCain warned his party's candidates they still have to give voters a reason to vote for them. Russ?
Bob Orr in Washington. Thanks. And joining us with some thoughts on all this is our senior political correspondent, Jeff Greenfield. Jeff, good evening to you.
Howdy, Russ.
Getting down to crunch time, what can the Democrats do?
They're looking for a blowout preventer to minimize the damage, and they think they got three. One, they have more money than the Republicans to spend in the House and Senate, though that could change. They think that they can localize some of these races to insulate their candidates from the national mood of discontent. And they think that some of the candidates the Republicans have nominated, the so-called Tea Party types, may be too far outside the mainstream. We're seeing some of that in places like Nevada and Colorado, but that's a very thin reed to try to build support for your own candidates.
In real and symbolic ways, what's at stake here?
Oh, I think this is real. One, the Obama domestic agenda is finished if the Republicans, gain control of one House or even sharply reduce Senate majorities. Remember, the Democrats barely prevailed in the Senate with 60 votes. They're also looking with no glee, no happiness to the prospect of massive investigations if the Republicans take the House or the Senate, subpoenas, committee hearings on alleged wrongdoing. So the whole climate shifts for the last 2 years of Obama's term if the Republicans do what the polls now say they may well do.
And when you look at governor's races around the country, what do you see?
Yeah, we see the possibility that in every state but New York, November could result in Republican governors in all of those big states. And remember, next year, all the House districts get redrawn because of redistricting, and governors play a big role. So big gains for the Republicans in the governor's houses means big gains for the Republicans 2 years down the road in the House. It's a big matter.
Going to be a busy few months. Jeff Greenfield, as always, thanks a lot.
Thank you.